Now I am making fried deer steaks. Here's the deer steaks. I've got them breaded in egg and a seasoned flour. And the seasoned flour is half cup of regular flour, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a few shakes of salt and a few shakes of black pepper. And I scrambled the eggs. There will be some left over of the flour and some left over of the egg. And I've got more deer steaks. I don't think any more than that will fit in this pan. And as you can see, I don't have very much oil in it. And I've got my heat turned to between 2 and 3. And my oil is heating nicely. And once this comes up to temperature, I'll start sprinkling flour in just to make sure it's hot enough, and I will show you when it is hot enough. But I just turned this oil on, so it's not hot enough yet. See, not hot enough yet. Almost. You can see the flour is bubbling. Not quite yet though. Just every now and then put in a pinch full of flour and do this with it just to make sure it's heating nicely. Not quite yet. Almost. It has to sizzle immediately. Now you can turn this up to 3 and just have it heating, but you have to turn it down because these deer steaks aren't so thick. See? And the thing about these deer steaks is you need to take saran wrap or some kind of cling wrap or something and put it on a cutting board and lay your deer steaks on the cutting board. Lay another layer of plastic wrap of some kind, and then tenderize your deer steaks. These deer steaks are pretty tough. They're made from deer tenderloin. Almost. So they need to be tenderized before you go to cook them, otherwise they'll be tough. So I'll be making 2 batches of this. And as you can see, the stuff on the bottom is bubbling as well. You can put your hand above the heat. It feels pretty warm. Don't touch the heat. Don't touch the oil, but you can put your hand above it, not touching it, and feel the warmth. It ought to be ready. It's ready. Because see, the flour sizzled immediately. And we are just going to layer these in nice and neat. I am going to go around the outside first, and then I will go around the inside. The bigger, thicker pieces need to go in the center. Hold on, I need to rinse my hand. And then put this last piece in there. And I've got this fork here to move them around. And I will also use this fork to flip them. And make sure your pan is centered on the burner. That way all your deer steaks cook. evenly. You don't want any of your deer steaks not cooking evenly. Now these do not take long to cook, and while these are cooking, I'm gonna bread and fry the rest of them. Bread the rest of them to be fried. Now you can double bread them if you want. Now what I like to do with this extra flour and extra egg is cook it for the dogs. They love it. Now there's not going to be many left, so they won't cook quite as long. The less you have in a pan, the less it's going to cook. Less amount of time it's going to cook, I should say. And after this, I will re-rinse my hands. Well, hands, since I'm only using one. This one got cut a bit thick by accident. I'm not sure who did that. But there's not going to be much flour left after all of this. Especially if you double bread it. And this is the last piece. You could also feed this deer blood to the dogs, because dogs love raw deer. And don't worry, I'll disinfect the sink when I'm done. And I'm going to take out a plate, move my stuff around. Oh, there's one piece left in there that I didn't see. There's not going to be much egg and much flour left, especially flour. Rinse my hand one more time. And then I'm going to fill up this bag because I have in-house dogs and in-house cats, and I don't want them getting in the trash for this bag. I'm going to check these deer steaks, see how they're doing. Not quite yet. Almost though. Now these deer steaks have shrank, as you can see, but you do not want to put in any more deer steaks until these come out. That's one thing you have to note about frying. Never put in fresh meat with meat that is cooking, because sometimes it can be hard to know what is, well, already cooked and what is not already cooked. And then, like I said, I'm going to take a plate, a clean plate, and set it to the side. And I'm going to get 4 paper towels. Then break them in half where there's 2 paper towels connected. Then fold them in half. And do the other to the other 2 paper towels. And lay them like this. Everybody cuts their deer steaks differently from the tenderloin. So everybody has different size deer steaks. So you really have to cook this according to the size of your deer steak. And as you can see, these deer steaks have lightened up. They're no longer dark red like those are. See, they've lightened up to a light pink. And it's almost time to flip them. Now, when using clean oil opposed to dirty oil, can't help you. Now, when using clean oil and dirty oil, the difference is that with the dirty oil, you get better browning than you do with clean oil. And I'm going to flip these. See? Now, when using a fork to turn your meat, be careful not to scrape the bottom, especially when using a non-stick pan. Like I am. And be careful turning them, because if you turn them too hard or too fast, they can splash. See? You can leave them in until they're darker if you want, but they don't have to be like super dark. And one thing to note when frying any kind of meat is if you see blood on any of the meat, you don't see blood on this meat. But if you see blood coming up on any of the meat, that means that the side you flip from is not done, and you need to flip it back once the side you flip to is done. But as you can see, there's no blood on top of this meat. And the second side that I just flipped to doesn't take as long to cook as the side that I started on, because it's already partially cooked, as you can see with it becoming lighter. So it won't take as long. So these deer steaks don't take too long, and I'm gonna make some mac and cheese and have mac and cheese and some vegetables with it. I opened a can of mixed vegetables and a can of diced potatoes. You can also listen for the bubbles. Once they slow down, that means they're probably done too. As you can hear, the bubbles are slowing down. Now I am going to check this side. See, it doesn't take long for this side. But I'm going to check these bigger ones. See? I'm just going to poke that. See if any blood comes out. No blood coming out. That means these are done. And I am going to carefully move these over to the plate. You can always use tongs if you feel like using tongs instead. Those work too. If I wasn't having to hold my phone camera, I'd be using the 2-fork method, and you'd be able to see the 2-fork method. Now you don't want this breading to get too dark because that'll make the meat tough again. But you don't want it too light either. And then after this, I'm going to put in the second batch, which, like I said, won't take as long because there's not as many. And again, the thicker pieces go in the middle. If you want, you could already have your mac and cheese cooking. And because there's nowhere near as many in this pan as there was over there, they're not going to take as long to cook. But they are bigger pieces, so they will take a little bit to cook. And when you're done frying, you can move this pan to the back burner or a different burner, because even though you turn the burner off, this is a gas stove, by the way. Even when you turn the burner off, the burner stays pretty hot because it is metal and it stays pretty hot, so you want to move the pan to cool it off quicker. And you saw what color these started off as, and you can see this one's already becoming lighter because it is smaller than the rest, and this one's pretty thick, so it hasn't started changing color yet. This one's even thicker, as you can see, so it hasn't started changing color yet. So where are you watching from? And I hope you are enjoying my cooking videos. Now, this one will need to be flipped before the others because it will be done before the others because it's so small and thinner than the others. It's ready to be flipped. These others, however, are not. Hold on. Buddy. Buddy. Sorry, I had to put my dog in the bedroom. Let's check this one. This one's done. Another thing to note about frying meat is if you don't see any blood on the paper towel anywhere, then that means they're also done. If you see like pink or anything, that means they're not done. And you just wasted a plate and a paper towel. Some paper towels. Now I'm going to move these around so they can fry better, closer towards the middle, because that's where all the heat is. Seems as though this one might be ready to flip. It is. See? This one's ready. Looks like this one's ready. These two are, hold on, let me check them. Yep, these two are ready. And these two will be done, these 5 will be done soon. Because like I stated, they do not take as long on the second side as they do the first. And after these are done, I'll turn the video off. And also be careful, like I said, using a fork to turn your stuff. Well, that and tongs too, because tongs are usually metal. Don't want to scrape the pan. And I don't know if you can see this, but the oil level has risen just slightly due to there being these deer steaks in there. Now these two will take the longest because they are the thickest, especially this one. But they do not take as long on the second side. Now when frying less, make a note of it. When there's less in the pan, you have to turn the heat down. Otherwise, the oil will be too hot. And these are done. I'm not quite sure about these two. But they seem to be done. They aren't leaking any blood. And thank you for watching my cooking video.